In this video, I'm going to show you how to create content from start to finish. We are going to create really high quality content, such as this one with infographics. For instance, this one is using a consistent character. And within the same job, we are also using Mike, which is also a consistent character. So both of these are AI influences. And as you can see, the quality of the infographic is really, really good. So I'm going to show you how to create the blueprint, how to make sure that everything is consistent, and how to deploy the whole lot and produce high quality content automatically. So first of all, you need to make sure that you have assets. So for instance, in this one, I'm going to be using everyday Sarah and Mike and David, perhaps, or I could be using those influences too. So if you want to deploy influences, all you need to do is to click on the starter pack and then head over to character and then select the characters that you want to import. I'm going to be adding more of those. Next, you want to understand what they are actually made of. So they contain a description, they contain visual. So you see they are really neat images. They contain a brand voice if you've selected a consistent character which requires a brand voice, such as storyboard videos, and also personality. As you'll see in later on in the video, all of these, the reference images, the name, the description, the voice, the tone, the speaking style, etc., can be reused within blueprints, and this is how we make it really consistent. So we are not going to use brand or product, even though we could. We are not going to use target audience, and we are not going to use blocks, even though blocks can be really useful. For instance, here, that's a bit of a different topic, but if I want to create a World War II documentary visual guide, I'll select input parameters, the mode, the tone, the color preference, the style reference, etc., etc. And then I'll be able to reuse that inside the prompt. So now we are going to check the blueprint. We are going to use a LinkedIn and comment strategy, which contains two variables, which we'll see a bit later on. You'll see that this module used is Claude Sonnet 4.5, and the image generation is using Nano Banana Pro. So I'm going to click on edit so you can see what it is actually. So I'm going to create a social media post, and here I'm going to make sure I use character. This is what we've talked about previously, that we are not going to use products and we are not going to use brand. We are only going to use characters. Now we are just making sure that the prompt is accurate. Your LinkedIn engagement strategist generate a complete engagement toolkit for someone in the space. So that's this one is inaccurate because this was going to be designed for the ICP. So we are going to change that, generate a complete engagement toolkit for, and that's going to be the ID that we'll be using. These are the talking points. So we just make sure that we are using the talking points here. We are just going to check that there are no other variables which could be interfering with the guidance that we are currently providing. No, that's fine. So I'm going to do exactly the same stuff for image prompt template. And I'm going to select infographic. Let me preview that. Clean infographic with the visual character style, aspect ratio. So I'm going to be using that one. I'm going to be using a different one. Okay. Let's see. This one. Okay. Use this. You can remove the format because we will be choosing that within the wizard. So lifestyle photography in the character style. Subject is going to be this character, and we don't need yet see. So that's we are just going to be using that. Next, we are just making sure that we have an image generator selected, which is Google Nano Banana Pro and Anthropic Sonnet 4.5. And here I'm going to update the blueprint. Next, I'm going to click on Use. I'm going to select Landscape because this is going to be for LinkedIn. I'm going to click on Continue. And here I'm going to look for different IDs. So I'm just going to pick the first 4 or 5. And here I'm going to check inside each ID if I need to use a specific hook or if there are any talking points that I like or if I want to leave it open. So I'm just going to select a couple. And here I'm not going to use the CTA. And for those, I'm just going to use this one and those ones, let's say. And this, I'm just going to leave it empty. Now I'm going to click on Continue. And here I'm going to select the influencers that we've selected previously. So the consistent characters. So I'm going to be using Sarah, Mike, and David. I'm going to be selecting this image of Sarah, this image of Mike, and this image of David. And here I'm going to create a separate output for each. Going to click on Continue. And here I'm just going to check how the prompt resolving and if they are of my liking. Otherwise, I'll just change them. So here you'll see that we have the talking points, that we have the different IDs. So this is all working perfectly. Now I'm just going to make sure that the image prompt also resolves properly. So this one is not resolving for Sarah. Okay, it's not an issue. Anyway, when we are using image prompt, the visual reference tends to overtake the prompt. So you'll see that this is going to create 15 outputs. Just going to click on I reviewed the configuration and I'm ready to generate. And here I'm going to generate content. And now I'm going to show you content that has already been generated because 15 pieces of content is going to take a while. So I'm going to click on Jobs. And here you'll see that we have 10 social posts. So exactly the same principle here. So it's using different characters. And only one has been published. So let me just reload the page. So here you'll see that I've generated images for 2 of them. I have different captions. I have different image prompts, which are following basically the prompt, the image prompt, plus the library elements that we've used previously. And here I have a really nice and clean visual. And then if I click on publish, I can just select a couple of social media profile and then I'll click on schedule and I'll perhaps post it on the 30th at midday and schedule. And that's it. That's how we generate content that's really, really high quality for several characters at the same time. So we've done it with characters, but we could also do it with products. If you have different products that you want to use inside images, you can do that. If you have different brands, you can do that. So it's really convenient in order to create content that you can actually keep reproducing using the same framework without having to mess around with different prompts and stuff. This is basically adding different library elements inside the blueprints and then producing the content based on the IDs. So that's 3 different layers: blueprints, library elements, and IDs.